He will give us a revelation in such a way that that part of our curiosity will be fulfilled. He will explain things to us in simple terms in a way that we are able to understand. How great is our God? You know, this morning I was driving to work and I was listening to this song, and the song said, "My hope is in your name and nothing less. There is not one thing that you're not greater than." And I got thinking, how great is our God? Have you ever given it a serious thought? How big is our God? How great is our God? How powerful is our God? Have you ever thought deeply about how great He is? Psalms 145, verse 3, it says, "Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised, and His greatness is unsearchable." Another version says, "His greatness no one can fathom." In other words, no human being can accurately understand how great and how mighty and how powerful our God is. Psalms 147, verse 5, "Great is our Lord, and mighty in power. His understanding is beyond measure." Let's not even talk about Psalms 139, where it goes into very intimate details of how God knows us. It blows your mind how much God is involved in our lives, how much God knows about our lives. Let me read just a snapshot of Psalms 139. It says, "O Lord, you've searched me and known me. You know my sitting down and my rising up. You understand my thought afar off. You comprehend my path and my laying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word on my tongue, but behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. You have hedged me behind and before, and laid your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain it." In other words, David's trying to say, all this knowledge is beyond my comprehension. I cannot really understand how you can know the words that haven't even formed on my tongue, how you can know all my ways, how you can know even before I was formed in my mother's womb, when I was formless, when I was just mere atoms, that you knew me. That knowledge is beyond our comprehension. Our human mind cannot comprehend that. And that is why David is saying, such knowledge is too wonderful for me. But if God is this great, if God is this mighty, if God is this powerful, then here's my question. How are we supposed to understand His greatness, to understand His might, to understand His power? How? As I pondered upon that question this morning on my way to work, I feel like the Lord gave me a short and a very simple answer. And this is what He said. If a 5-year-old asks you a question, you always answer that question in a way that they can understand. In other words, you break things down in simple terms to where that child can understand. And if you think of a parent and a child, the way a parent explains something to a 5-year-old is not the way the parent will explain the same thing to a 12-year-old. And the same applies to a 20-year-old. So you find out that the same parent who has the same information is giving different forms of explanations depending on the age of the child, because you want to explain things at a level where they can understand it. Now the Lord said, now my question was, Lord, if if your greatness we cannot fathom, if we cannot understand your greatness and your might and your power, then how are we supposed to know He's great? How are we supposed to know He's mighty? How are we supposed to know He's powerful? And I truly feel like throughout the day, I felt like He gave me two answers. Number one, Psalms 25, verse 9. The humble He guides in justice, and the humble He teaches His way. And verse number 12, who is the man that fears the Lord? Him He shall teach in the way He chooses. So that man, that person that fears the Lord, him shall He teach in the way He chooses. So that part is talking about that the Lord will teach him. That man who fears the Lord, that man who humbles himself before the Lord will teach him in the way He chooses. So humility, humbling ourselves before the Lord, going to the Lord and saying, Lord, I do not know about you. I don't think I have any idea of how big you are, how great you are, how mighty you are, how powerful you are. But Lord, teach me your ways. Show me, give me a revelation. So humility. Second one, Jeremiah 33:3. Call to me, and I'll answer you, and I'll show you great and mighty things you do not know. Call to me, and I will answer you, and I'll show you great and mighty things that you do not know. Call to me, call to the Lord, go to the Lord, persist, dwell in his presence, be there, ask, humble yourself, and he'll teach you great and mighty things that you do not know. Back to the example that I gave about between a child and a parent. The Lord will reveal to you of his greatness, his might, and his power in a way that you can understand. And yes, of course, we will not be able to understand the fullness of our God, the fullness of his power, the fullness of his might. We are not able to comprehend that. Our human minds cannot really comprehend that. But in a way, if we humble ourselves and pursue the Lord, he will give us a revelation in such a way that that part of our curiosity will be fulfilled. He will explain things to us in simple terms in a way that we are able to understand. How great is our Lord? How great is your God? Have you gone to him and just told him, Lord, I just want to have a fresh understanding of how mighty you are, how powerful you are, how great you are. I know I cannot really fully understand it, but give me a new revelation, give me a fresh revelation. It's not until we pursue him persistently that we are able to get some of these revelations. And that's why Jeremiah 33 says, call to me. And when you call, I'll answer you, and I will show you great and mighty things that you do not know. God bless you.